And you want to hear something even more? He's in the division that made him a Pro Bowler. It's not like he has to go to the AFC West and relearn all the wide receivers, the quarterbacks, the nuances of what a team will throw at you. He's in a division he's excelled in. That is such an added advantage. He's got his book on all the wideouts that he's played against. Washington, Dallas. Hell, he knows the wide receivers in Philadelphia may be as good as what Nick Sirianni does. He clearly knows the giant wideouts because he performed against them in training camp and in minicamp and during the season in practice. Here we go, baby. Here we go. Mulligan here. Big Silz here, National Football Show. And we got a big one, okay? Please click the like button. Apologize for the start. You know we're in communist California. Internet's never good. Gasoline prices through the roof. But I'll tell you one thing that's happening. The heat is on in Philly. The heat is on in Philly, baby. Okay? You know, I read that list to you, and I know we probably weren't coming through, but that 2011 Dream Team, I just brought up for one thing, context, okay? Context. This is all on paper right now. This is all on paper. However, one thing we have to look at, I want my general manager doing and being proactive. I was sent a text message from the Eagles today, and the Eagles said, "How do you like my general manager now?" And I said, "I think your general manager has done a spectacular job this offseason. He has done a spectacular job. And this is all you can ask your GM to do. Look, September's around the corner. Rent's due. Rent's due in September. Okay? Rent's due in September. But here, let's do it. Here's Howie Roseman's offseason. A.J. Brown, 4 years, $100 million. Did they need an elite wide receiver? Yes. Did they need an edge rusher? Hassan Reddick, 3 years, $45 million. Did they need a CB2? Yes. James Bradberry, 1 year, $10 million. Perfect Howie Roseman deal. Prove it to me deal. Remember, he was scheduled to make $13 million with the Giants. The Giants didn't have the money to pay for the Pro Bowl cornerback. Okay? So he's only taking a $3 million haircut. And you want to hear something even more? He's in the division that made him a Pro Bowler. It's not like he has to go to the AFC West and relearn all the wide receivers, the quarterbacks, the nuances of what a team will throw at you. He's in a division he's excelled in. That is such an added advantage. He's got his book on all the wideouts that he's played against. Washington, Dallas. Hell, he knows the wide receivers in Philadelphia may be as good as what Nick Sirianni does. He clearly knows the giant wideouts because he performed against them in training camp and in minicamp and during the season in practice. Best quarterback duo in the NFC East, by far. That includes Dallas. Then you add Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean. Look at these 5 players that they've added to the roster. And then you look at the rest of the teams in the NFC East and ask yourself the question, who got better, who got worse? Washington got a little better. The Eagles got a lot better. Dallas got worse. The Giants, oh, well, I don't know. I don't know. So here, let's have this topic. By the way, we got a boatload of topics here. And I can't wait to get to you guys. here in a second here. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. By the way, Xander did a great job earlier when he had John McMullen on. And I thought it was very level and very even keel on how they took the James Bradberry sign. Because there's two things that still are evident. Okay? Still things that are evident. The quarterback play and health of the team. But then again, health of the team, you could apply that to all 32 NFL teams. Health. The war of attrition. Do you have a deep roster? You know, we're going to look at the Eagle roster. Is it the deepest roster in the NFC East, you think? You can't really stockpile players, but when you have a rookie contract with a quarterback, you can stockpile players. Howie Roseman's offseason. You guys think this is the best he's done as general manager? And does his offseason now make, with the signing of James Bradberry, does that make the Eagles an elite team in the NFC? Let's take a look at the elite teams. Rams. But see, the one thing that's going to be lacking is the quarterback. And I'm going to address that here in a second. Okay? I'm going to address that here in a second. Do the Eagles have an elite football roster? We can't say team yet. You don't know that yet because it's only on paper. Are they as good as the Rams roster-wise? They don't have the pass rusher and Aaron Donald, but they do have an elite pass rusher now in Hassan Reddick. Do they have an elite wideout like they do in LA with Cooper Kupp? They do in A.J. Brown. Do they have an elite quarterback? No. But is he good enough? We're going to get to that. Are they as good as the 49ers now? See, I think that's the benchmark here. Now, before you guys get a little bit angry at me with that, okay? Before you get angry with me on that, Jimmy Garoppolo went up and beat the MVP in Green Bay in shit weather. He went up there. Jimmy Garoppolo went up there and beat him. Jimmy Garoppolo's not elite. Ryan Tannehill last year, I know people forget this, Ryan Tannehill and his Titans, even when they lost Derrick Henry, were the number one seed in the AFC going into the playoffs. Do the Eagles have an elite team? Can you have an elite team without an elite quarterback? I think San Francisco's elite. So I think, yes, you can. Bradberry, baby, much better than the 49ers. You're not much better than the 49ers. You're not near the accomplished resume of the 49ers over the last 3 years. They've been to 2 NFC championship games. How can you make that statement on May 18th without seeing these guys play yet? This is what I'm saying. Temper your expectations yet a little bit here. Can they have the same roster? Yes. But 49ers, that's your benchmark. That's who the Eagles are. I'm all right being in the 49ers because I think the 49ers can win the Super Bowl this year. I think you're reading this wrong. Jeremiah says, Silz, I want to hear from all of you guys that wanted to trade this offseason for one player in Watson and Wilson. Yes, it's on paper, but we flipped the roster. I'm sorry, Jeremiah. I would still take Deshaun Watson in 17 seconds. I have no problem sticking to that take. Not flopping on that take. Deshaun Watson versus A.J. Brown and the moves that they have made. Yeah, okay. I think I would be okay with that still. Deshaun Watson, you're still talking about whether the quarterback is good enough to win with an elite roster now. I'd rather have the elite quarterback and build around the elite quarterback than build a team and figure out, well, I don't know if I have the guy or not, a quarterback. No, everyone is not on paper. The Rams are not on paper. The Bucks are not on paper. The Packers are not on paper. And the 49ers are not on paper. The Bengals are not on paper. The Chiefs are not on paper. They've got resumes that they've accomplished things. The Eagles have not yet. That's all I'm saying here. This offseason, hey, and I just said to you, I think the San Francisco 49ers can win the Super Bowl. If the San Francisco 49ers can win the Super Bowl, the Philadelphia Eagles can as well. They can as well. They can. How good are your defense going to be? How are you going to play Hassan Reddick? What's your rotation going to be? All of this has to play out yet. The roster looks great. I missed that. Xander, can you? Yeah, there you go. A new pass rush will add at least 4 more wins than last season. Vernon, and with the addition of Bradberry on the other side of Darius Slay, you may have 2 pass rushers this year on that defense with double-digit sacks. Paul, Gannon better not F this up. Let's start getting to some of your takes. I got another take here in a second. Do you think your Eagles are elite? One of the elite teams in the NFC now. Davey Boy, last summer, people were shitting on the Bengals and praising the Browns. We'll see what happens. I was never praising the Browns as long as Baker Mayfield was their starting quarterback. I was never. Great addition, Bradberry, for sure. Absolutely. Massive upgrade. Now you have depth too. Okay? Now with that addition, look what you did a year ago and the fact that you were adding. Okay? Okay? Don't worry. Hey, and last year you got a chance to create depth, right? To create depth. Oh, I mean, dude, this is fantastic. The depth that you played last year in the secondary at free and strong and cornerback, now you add Bradberry in the mix. Guess what? You're right there. Emre Silz. Silz used to work in finance, but we can't see what we're paying a dude right now. Okay? I think we are, Sills, because the only weak spot on the roster is safety. And I'll tell you what, and I'm not too worried about that because I think that kid Epps deserves an opportunity there. Not elite just yet. Depends on Jalen and Gannon. God, that's a good take. God, that's a great take. Matthew says not elite under the quarterback is proven. Garoppolo can at least throw the ball and he can read and he can win, Matthew. But I think this team reminds me, listen, is that a poor comparison that I'm comparing you to the 49ers? Are you upset with that? 49ers beat the number 1 seed last year in the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau. You're upset with that? You should not be. You should not be, because the 49ers made it to the Final Four, and I thought they had a shot to get to a Super Bowl. I thought they were going, and not with an elite quarterback. Guys, Paul says something that I'm going to hit on next here. Hurts needs to come through. Does he? Does he? This defense has been built for Gannon by Howie. He better kill it, Henpen says. Hurts is no Jimmy G, though. I don't know, Dan. Does he have to be? I think on paper we are better than the Niners. Really? You think you got a football player on defense that's in the category of Nick Bosa? I do not. Pro Football Focus came out with the top 20 under 25 players. Do you know who the number 1 player is? And I'll get to that list. By the way, the Eagles have no one on that list. The top 20 players under 25. Nick Bosa's on that list, and he's number one. You don't have a guy like that on your football team. You think Deebo Samuel and A.J. Brown are the same? I don't. And watch this. I think A.J. Brown is an elite wide receiver, but he ain't Deebo Samuel because he runs the ball. He's asked to do a shitload more things. That guy's a superior football player, not superior. He's asked to do more in that system. Okay? But the Eagles do have an elite guy. Their quarterback is better. Their O-line is comparable. Their defense is good in San Fran. And again, I think you're in the same conversation with the 49ers, and I think the 49ers can win the NFC. Jesus criminy. Eagles still need to find a punter. I don't want my wide receiver being a running back. One above all, neither do I. Davey Boy says, Deebo says that he's not running the ball. Yeah, for a couple extra $1 million, like an extra $5 million in his new contract, he'll do it. Money talks. JJ says, I'm smelling the 2017 season. You think you're as good of a roster as that 17 season? Did you think that team was elite going into 17? Did you get the quarterback? People were high on at the time. Eagles now have production value. Ernest says Garoppolo puts the Niners in a position. 49ers are solid. I know why people are capping. How can you say that football team's solid when they've been to 2 NFC championship games in 3 years? That's pretty productive. No, I smell the 2004 Eagles. '17 surprised me. I think we're better on paper than 17. That's what Mike says. 2017 season, so a backup comes in and wins the Super Bowl. This is going to go to my second topic here. I did, but the general consensus was we were not in 17. You know what? Canjo, I thought that the Philadelphia Eagles in 17 had the best combination of O-line, D-line for a football team I had seen in a long time. They were superior, in my opinion, as a combination. Okay? Really. I thought they were great. I didn't know how far it would carry them, though. And I didn't think – let's not forget something. The one thing that team was notorious for, that 17 Super Bowl Eagle team, you know what they were notorious for? Once they got you and they were in a 60-minute ball game, dude, the Patriots waved the white flag. With around 57 minutes left in the game, they were waving the white flag. You beat the piss out of that team physically. You manhandled them. That was a football team that manhandled people. And you had a quarterback making plays in the passing game. How do we know Hurts won't be elite with these weapons? Eagle, nobody's saying we don't know that. We are better on paper than 17, says Ernest. 2017 was coaching. Okay? Thank you. Pro, thank you very much. I think your offensive line and defensive lines in 17 were spectacular. Our D-line still a question mark? Marina, I don't know that. Lord Brunson, way to go, dude. Dan, I got you. Here, let me throw this at you now here. Lord Brunson, you think this football team now has an elite roster? Long live the Philly Special, one of the absolutely greatest. Okay? I'm going to say this to you here. I've been proven wrong by Howie Roseman. I've been proven wrong, at least on paper. And by the way, that's good enough. Xander's right. This man wears a suit. He doesn't wear a helmet. He doesn't wear shoulder pads. This is all this guy really has control of, is building a roster. He can't play the game. He can't coach the game, nor would I want him to. But he was asked to do something, rebuild the team from the disastrous 4-win team. After winning a Super Bowl 4 years removed, they ended up, no, it's not that, Chris. Chris is one of those guys that refuses to give people kudos, even if they turn the thing around and make it happen. See, I'm not like one of those old school turds that sit there and have to hammer a point like Skip Bayless does, that LeBron James has no clutch gene, even though he's won 4 NBA titles. That's a dumb take. That's a ridiculous take. Okay? You can be wrong here. Now, could that opinion change? Yeah, September. Reds do. Howie Roseman has been asked to rebuild the team, and he's put the pieces in place for it to be rebuilt. And he's done it fiscally. He's done it fiscally. There's no overspending here. He didn't go after Ty Matthew because that was too much money, that money that he was asking for. He wasn't going to spend that money. He gets a Pro Bowl cornerback on a 1-year, $10 million deal, $3 million cheaper than what he was going to make in New York with the Giants. He got a Pro Bowl cornerback at a $3 million discount. He restructured Fletcher Cox's contract. Dude, what do you want me to say? He sucks? He has not done a good job? What would you have me say, Chris? Lie? Or give the guy kudos for, how about this? One thing he's done that I haven't been, he's been patient. Matthew says Howie's done a phenomenal job. No question. Howie got off this year. Philadelphia Eagles are going in the right direction. Can these coaches and players come together? Picking. That's why today, on May 18th, it's awesome. September 7th, when the season starts, Reds do. Howie's done a great job, no doubt. Duck, how you doing? Amen, Dan. Howie has been patient. Most GMs don't have the luxury of that. Well, when you sign it, you know what we all should have said, guys? Tell me I'm right. We all should have said this, right? When he was given that 3-year contract, he has the luxury of being patient. September 11th, thanks, Mike. Zach says, people act like you can't be wrong, Silz. I know, right? Dude, I'm wrong most of the time. You know why? Some people come through. I was wrong in Lamar Jackson. But when I see somebody come through and win an MVP, I'm not going to sit there and shit on the guy. Well, you still can't win. I'm like, the guy's a great player. It's not how I work. I'd rather be wrong because I don't like rooting against people. Unless you're a complete jackass. Paul says the offseason needs linebacker. They addressed it. Cornerback, edge, wide receiver. Howie got all of them except the safety. Absolutely. And you know what he's going to do, Paul? He's going to give Epps his shot. 60 tackles. He feels comfortable in there with him. You can get away with that when you have lockdown corners and you have an elite pass rush. Okay, the linebacking core, he addressed it. Dean's going to start and play, and he's going to be your rookie MVP on defense. Steven says, if Jalen comes anywhere close to elite, We are in contention for a long time. What grade do you give us, Silz? Zach says. Your off season? Strong A. Strong A. Now, let me ask you this question here. This here is going to be the fall of Jalen. And I mean the fall season, not the fall like he's going to fail. Do the Eagles need an elite performance from Jalen in 2022 for the Eagles to be in contention for a Super Bowl? I'll say it again. Do the Eagles need an elite performance in 2022 for the Eagles to be in contention for the Lombardi Trophy? Eastside Monster says yes. I thought about this topic. Ryan Tannehill wasn't elite. Jimmy Garoppolo, not elite. They were in contention for the Super Bowl. 5 Star says negative. Trim says, yep, yes. Solid, no turnovers. Not elite. Folks want elite and won a championship. All Hurts has to do is be smart with the ball and move the chains. That's what Chuck says. Eagles need elite performances from Jalen to shut you up, Silz. To truly be in contention, he has to be above average. I thought he was above average last year. So if Jalen turns in the same performance, that's a great question too. If Jalen turns in the same performance as he did a year ago, are the Eagles in contention for the NFC Championship? He can't be that bad in the playoffs. He can't be. Because the Rams and the Bucks will beat the doorknobs off that team. Ernest, not elite. Foles was an elite and won a Super Bowl. Lawrence says he needs to learn that playbook. I think it's more about reading progressions than the playbook. Yeah, Trent Dilfer says hello. Got to play better. Hurts needs to work on his platform and his progressions. Bradberry, baby. Above average throwing the ball and progression defenses. Chris says, no, he can't miss reads like that and be successful. Sex says he can improve without becoming elite. Ryan Tannehill is a great example of that. Jimmy Garoppolo, another great example of that. There's quarterbacks in the NFL that have moved the chains and have gotten, you know what? Let me ask you this. You guys think when Matt Ryan was in his heyday, you think Matt Ryan was an elite quarterback in Atlanta? You think he would? I know he won an MVP award. I know. You think he was, would he have been at the top of your list when it came to picking a team that you wanted to build a franchise around? I never looked at Matt Ryan like that. You know what I'm saying? I know he won an MVP. I know he's thrown for a boatload of yards. But when you looked at him, did you go like this? Hey, that guy's Brady. Or that guy's Aaron Rodgers. Or that guy's Stafford. Did we ever do that? And look at him like, I always thought Matthew Stafford was better than Matt Ryan. MVP's elite. Okay. Sure. Okay. I never looked at him like that. He wouldn't be a guy I'd build my team around. That wasn't a quarterback I went, man, he's one of the top 5 guys in the sport. I get he won an MVP. I get it. You know, Andrew, look, I'm not saying, hey, and by the way, I never thought he was shitty. I just never looked at him. Again, where I'm going with that is, does Jalen have to be a superstar quarterback for the Eagles to go? Here, watch this. How many people think that Donovan McNabb was elite? You think Donovan McNabb would be a guy that you wanted to build your franchise around? Is Donovan McNabb an elite quarterback when you think of the guys who played? When you think of people you want to build your team around, is Donovan one of those guys? See, I thought Donovan was a tick below elite. I thought he was great, though. See, I think Matt Ryan's great, but I never went like this. Yeah, you know, I don't know. Ask Strahan. Donovan, with this year's Eagles team, would be a Super Bowl contenders. Now, he also had Andy Reid. You might want to add that in, too. One of the best play-calling head coaches of all time. Okay, you might add that in. 5 NFC title games. Jimmy Garoppolo's been to 2. I don't know. Actually, Jimmy Garoppolo has been to 3 NFC title games. And Jim Johnson on the other side. Little different coaching staff Donovan played with. Yeah, Matthew, that's a great way to look at Matt Ryan and Donovan. Superstar, not elite. Yeah, that's fair. I think you could be a superstar NFL player, not be an elite guy when we're talking about the top 5 guys in the sport. I think you can be that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think you can be that. So the big question will come down to, once again, I was watching Xander and John McMullen, and those guys were right. The play of Jalen Hurts and health will be the major concern with this team. But then we go back to the first topic. Is this team now in a position where they have put enough pieces on the field or on paper or on the roster where we go like this? Yeah. The expectations. Hey, has your expectations now with James Bradberry elevated? Have they elevated more than they did from yesterday? I agree, superstar over elite. The defense bailed out Stafford many times. I thought that pass down the middle of the field to Cooper Kupp against the Buccaneers, that was pretty good. I would use a different classification system. I'd say that McNabb and Ryan are star quarterbacks, not superstar. Superstar would be elite. I guess we're talking terminology then. How many games will it take to call for Hurts' head? Dude, I don't know. The Hurts has to be overly exceptional now. Dale says Hurts will be better this year with a big chip on his shoulder. What's the chip on his shoulder? He's been given an opportunity to be the starting quarterback in the National Football League for a second year. What's the chip? That people don't think he's an elite guy? I don't know if that'll ever change. The only way it'll change is if he gets the team to the NFC Championship game. Okay? They are clearly the third best team in the NFC. So you think they're better than the 49ers, even though the 49ers, you know, the one thing that I will say will hurt the 49ers, they're indecision at quarterback right now. And their issues that they have internally are really making a decision whether or not they think Trey Lance is the guy. And if they choose wrong, let me show you guys something about the quarterback. Remember I told you that there were franchise moves that we'll remember for the rest of our lives. The Patriots sticking with Brady, going into the Super Bowl and not going back to Drew Bledsoe. Pete Carroll not putting Matt Flynn in as a starting quarterback in Seattle and going with the third rounder. And Russell Wilson. Here's going to be a decision in San Francisco. If you get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo and trade Jimmy Garoppolo, say to New York. Say they trade him to the Giants. Okay? Or whomever. And you go to Trey Lance and that guy sucks. Okay? And he's another Jordan Love. Then you got a problem. Brett says people forget how much Cooper did for Dak. We're going to get, dude, I got a crap load of topics here. Hurts will use the doubt in him as motivation. Wentz had time. We have a better roster. 49ers. Jay, I don't think you have a better roster than the 49ers. I think it's comparable. I think they have more elite players than you. You have nobody like Nick Bosa. You have somebody like Deebo Samuel. Trent Williams is the best tackle in the game. Jordan Mailata can be. Okay? They got an effective running game without the quarterback being effective. God, there's so much here. There's so much here. God, man, where do we go here? Okay? Where do we go here now? Here's a good one. Okay? Do you have more trust in Dak Prescott or Jalen Hurts going into this 2022 season? Okay? Who do you have more trust in now with this roster adding James Bradberry here? Hey, don't forget, guys, our good friends at Morgan & Morgan, where the fee is free. That means this. If you're choosing an attorney right now, that could be one of the most important things that you could possibly do for your family. If you're hurt or injured on the job, getting that lawyer is going to be one of the most important decisions you will make. For the people, this is what Morgan & Morgan are. It's not a slogan. They are, without a doubt, people that go out and get compensation for their clients. Over $13.5 billion in the last 30 years that they have got for their clients. With over 800 attorneys in offices in Philadelphia, New York, Florida, across the country, size matters. They're the biggest casualty law firm in the United States of America. Call them, 800-512-1600. The call is free, 800-512-1600. The consultation is free, 800-512-1600. And do me a favor, when you call Morgan & Morgan, tell them Big Silz sent you.
When choosing a lawyer for your injury case, you may ask, does the size of the law firm matter? Well, of course it does. The insurance company, they're huge with unlimited resources. And whether your case is big or small, they're built to bully you out of the money you're owed. But here's the good news. We're big too, the biggest actually. And we're built to fight to make them pay for all that was taken from you. Size is our strength. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.